let me officially welcome everybody. While people are still trickling in to this tokenomics talk today with jholmes from Perp Protocol. We had, and of course, Ariel, one of our DAO contributors. Ariel has written a tokenomics analysis on Perp a while back, I think 6, 7, 8 months ago. And we did have a community talk at that time as well. But a lot has happened with Perp. You all have launched some pretty cool new features and aspects. So I hope we can touch on those a little bit today. And yeah, I'm mostly just here to kind of moderate because Ariel knows way more about Perp than I do. And of course, yeah, we're grateful to have you here as a special guest with us from Perp directly to answer any open questions. And of course, also, use the opportunity to, share some of the internal workings of Perp that maybe aren't so well known. And yeah, excited to be here and grateful to have you both.
Thanks, yeah, glad to be here.
And I'm so sorry, I've been calling you Jesse, but your name is Jamie, correct?
Yeah, that's right, yeah, no worries.
I'm sorry, Jamie.
That's no problem, don't worry.
All right, Ariel, why don't you get started? Give us a little background on Perp, kind of what was the point of your analysis to begin with. Maybe that's a good entry point. And then Jamie, you can kind of take over and explain a little bit what is Perp, what's the vision behind your project.
Yeah, sounds good. And thanks for the intro, Lovis. So Perp is actually going back to my analysis. I wanted to analyze something about DeFi. I think DeFi is such an interesting topic, and there's such a wide variety of protocols that we can analyze. And so I just wanted, to also get my name out there in the DeFi space. And so that's how I came into Perp. And I think Perp is a really interesting example in the DeFi space because they are a decentralized exchange that focuses on perpetual futures and leverage, which I think is maybe not the most common features that you see in indexes. I think there are much fewer players in that space compared to just swapping and loans. So that's already interesting. And for those who don't know, like leveraging is like you invest $1 but you actually buy $100 of Bitcoin, for example. So it's just a way that the exchange gives you to leverage your position, so you can invest or trade more than you're actually putting in from your money. So that's what they are doing. And futures are another financial product where you have two ways of trading or investing. You can either buy the spot price, in the spot market, which is we see you're actually buying Bitcoin, for example, or just use Bitcoin as an example, but you could use that for other cryptocurrencies or even other assets outside of crypto as well. So you could either buy an actual Bitcoin, meaning like you own the Bitcoin you're buying, and it doesn't matter if it's one Bitcoin, whether it's 100 or one Satoshi, for example. Or you can buy futures. And when you're buying futures, you're buying something that represents the price fluctuation, but you're not buying the actual asset. And especially in crypto, there are some nuances, and this is where we come into the perpetual futures. So if you go into commodities, for example, and you want to buy futures, those futures tend to have an expiration date. And so the price tends, like the future price tends to converge with the spot price as you get closer to the expiration date. But in crypto, you have this new category which is called perpetual futures, and so you don't have an expiration date for those futures. So what you have is a funding rate. So the funding rate works to incentivize players to take the least popular side of the trade. So for example, if Bitcoin is trading upwards, then the funding rate is gonna incentivize traders to buy short positions, and with that mechanism, the future price also converges to the spot price. So these are some of the really cool features that Perp has. And they also have the third, which I think is probably the coolest feature, which is builder ready composability. So they're really taking the DeFi Legos ethos to another level by allowing other protocols to build on top of their protocols. And I may be mistaken, but I think Perp also leverages one of Uniswap pools, but I'm not super sure. It's been a while since I looked into them. But yeah, I just wanted to provide this quick overview, which is how I got into Perp. And they were also adding some cool updates at the time, but I'll let Jamie first complement whatever I said about the features, and let him talk about whatever updates you guys have these last few months.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, that was a great overview. Just to touch on the point about the Uniswap pools. So basically how it works is that we use like Uniswap v3, their architecture as like a pricing engine. So when you're actually trading on Perp, you're actually swapping into these Uniswap liquidity pools, but it's only exclusive to the protocol. And then basically your token position represents like your derivative position. And yeah, I'll just touch a bit more on like the core vision of Perp. So what we want to do is like provide people with like a trustless crypto trading platform. So central to this vision is the on-chain DEX, decentralized exchange. So that's where you can trade perpetual futures with up to like 10x leverage. And one of like the unique things is that pretty much everything, every component is like completely on-chain, and it's all open source. So that kind of links into the builder ready composability as well. And then we also recently had a new product launch just over a month ago. And they're known as like the hot tub vault. So it's really showing like how you can build stuff on top of the protocol, and like the benefits of the composability, because we also want to provide like something not just for like experienced and sophisticated traders who trade perpetuals, but also those people who want to just earn like a passive return on their crypto holdings. Maybe they're newer to the space, or they're not so knowledgeable about trading or coding. And and just a bit more on perpetuals. So it's kind of like the simplest derivative product, as you mentioned. There's no expiry date, and it's pretty simple to trade as compared to futures. So, and it's like the most popular trading instrument in crypto as well.
Awesome. Yeah, I really like the vision behind Perp, and I think last time we spoke, you guys had recently launched the VE Perp, which is the voting escrow Perp, and so what at least I understand that was the reasoning behind this decision was to kind of try and not add liquidity, but maintain liquidity within the protocol, and also kind of align the interests between different players that are using it. Because when you provide incentives for people to lock up their tokens within a given protocol, then you're kind of incentivizing people to have more skin in the game, and that should add to the community better aligned in making decisions or kind of supporting initiatives that will benefit most of the players that are interacting with the protocol. So I think that was something that really caught my attention when I was doing the analysis, because I think it's a really nice mechanism, and I think a lot of protocols aren't using that or not as successfully as Perp did, and I wonder how has this feature evolved since we in these last few months, and have you guys been seeing the traction that you thought you would see when you launched it?
Yeah, so I'll just touch on a bit more about the reasoning. So basically, we were just like updating the tokenomic model, just to like keep with the times and the recent like updates and research that's been done. So like the old style of governance tokens, it was like you could gather like a malicious actor borrowing a bunch of tokens like to influence governance votes. Whereas like the V tokenomic model, pioneered by Curve and used by other projects such as Perp and Frax Finance and a few others as well. That kind of like it's kind of like the best sort of model that we have at the moment, like in terms of like if you want like a democratic voting process and to really have the people who believe in the project, making the decisions basically. Um, so yeah, like the new tokenomic model was launched initially, and it was like the fee distribution wasn't live straight away, but then in December we introduced the fee distribution. So that's that's basically directing a portion of the trading fees to the VPERP holders. And yes, I think it's been quite successful so far because we have like 14% of the tokens total supply locked up. And if you look at like other projects that have been around longer with the same model, they have like around, I think like 40% almost or 50% of the tokens locked up. So it's kind of like a benchmark. And of those 21 million perp tokens that are locked up, around 8.5 million are actually locked for like 9 months or more. So we're seeing like a lot of holders locking their tokens for longer to really gain the benefits and really maximize the utility that they get out of this new tokenomic model. And in terms of fees distributed to token holders, so yeah, since December we've seen over like $500,000 of the trading volume go directly to the token holders, and then on an annualized rate that's currently about $1.4 million. And yeah, as the trading volume goes up, it's been steady around 35 million per day in the past month or so. So yeah, as volume goes up and we do more work on in terms of like marketing, business development, and like the engineering team, the amount of fees that get distributed to token holders will increase as volume increases. And yeah, it's an interesting thing to see as well, like in terms of like how much you can earn in terms of the yield. The average yield currently is around 13%, which is pretty attractive. But yeah, the only thing is, you're just exposed to like the price fluctuations of the perp token itself. So yeah, if you're willing to take on that risk, it's a pretty good yield that you can get, directly in stable coins in USDC. And yeah, you can actually like increase your APR. So that's just an average figure. So some people will be getting higher if they're locking like more tokens and for a longer duration than like the median address. And yeah, that's pretty much like an update on kind of where we're at the moment. So what we want to see is like more tokens being locked. You're removing more of the supply from circulation, and that's kind of like supporting the price going forward, and also just like creating this ecosystem around our decks as well, and just like opening up kind of like ownership of the exchange and the benefits to anyone who's a token holder basically.
Awesome. Those are some really interesting numbers, and I think that speaks to the power of token lockups. I really like how you guys designed it, and I think one aspect that is really worth calling out is the yield. As Jamie mentioned, the yield is paid in stable coins, so that's a huge difference from paying like yield in their own tokens, for example, because protocols that do that tend to just dilute the stakeholders, which is not a good thing because um, you're kind of breaking the incentive of staking because you're just issuing more and more tokens. So it seems like you're getting a yield, but you're actually just getting diluted. You're inflating your token. And what Jamie is saying is quite the opposite. Since they are paying in stable coins, they incentivize people to keep their tokens there, and they are just reducing the supply and creating a kind of deflationary behavior. Mason, another contributor in the TDAO, actually wrote a really good article about yield quality, I think sometime last year. Even though it's not recent, I highly recommend reading that because it really provides a good framework to analyzing these token incentives and lockup programs. And I think the perp case is a very good example of a good lockup design where you actually incentivize your stakeholders without diluting them, and that's also beneficial for the tokenomics as well. And so my follow-up question to that is, have you guys also observed like an increase in engagement? And I think engagement we could measure in two ways in this scenario. One, I think, would be like in actual trading activity, like do stakeholders trade more in the PERP protocol? And the second question, I think, would be about the community. Like, have you observed any meaningful like increase in interactions, either being in like Discord channels or Telegram or whatever, or just the more formal governance forums? So I think I'm curious to hear how that translates to the community behavior.
Yeah, sure. So in terms of the volume, so yeah, since December we've seen like an uptick in the daily trading volume. It's roughly like about say like tripled almost, like on average, like the daily trading volume since like the end of December. But I think it's also kind of related to like the wider market trends as well, like general sentiment and just like overall liquidity and market conditions. So I think that's been improving since like the end of last year. So it could also be related to that. I'm not sure if we can kind of separate whether it's down to like the tokenomics or like the overall market conditions. But yeah, in terms of like the community as well, we've seen a lot of like older community members who, they probably just bought Perp and then like forgotten about the project, never really kept up with it. But then we've seen like a lot of people, come back and, you know, like they were dormant for a while, but then now they're, it's reignited their interest in the protocol, since, we're totally like revamping and improving the tokenomic model. So yeah, I'd say like the engagement, there's been the release of the new tokenomics has been like a big driver, especially on Discord. Seen a lot of people who have been around for a long time, and they're returning and really interested in the new update.
Cool. Yeah, I'm glad that you guys are seeing these results, and it kind of creates an ascending spiral, right? Because the more users are engaged, the more revenue the protocol will generate, and then the more revenue will be distributed to V perp holders. That's how it works, right?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, before, if you think about it, like if you just held the perp token, um, if daily volume went up or down, you're not benefiting from it. You're just purely speculating on the token's price, and you're just hoping for it to go up or um, but yeah, then with this updated tokenomics, you basically have an incentive to bring more volume to the platform because if you're locking your perp, then you're going to earn a share of the trading fees. So it's in your interest to like bring people there and attract new traders or like tell your friends or whoever that like they like trading or especially in like decentralized way. So yeah, like it's like a win-win for everyone kind of because you know if you also think about it, like if you're actively trading as well, it's like a rebate as well because if you're locking perp, you're getting some of those trading fees back that if you're trading a lot and spending a lot on trading fees. But even if you're just if you're not a trader, you know, you just believe in the project and believe in the vision, yeah, you're just like you're benefiting when the protocol's doing more volume because you'll get a higher share or higher amount of fees from the share that's shared with the token holders.
Yeah, that really speaks to the power of skin in the game. I love that.
Yeah,
I'm not, and I was just gonna say another, I think, interesting aspect to highlight about the V perp implementation is that time, like the time you lock up your tokens, is equally valuable to the amount of tokens that you're locking. So, if you lock like 100 tokens for 52 weeks, which is the maximum period, then you would get, I think, almost double the rewards if you lock the same amount of tokens for 26 weeks. So that also incentivizes people to think more like at a longer term, which I think is overall is good for the token, like the token price and the tokenomics. And so, have you guys observed this behavior of locking for the maximum time, or is that more volatile?
yeah. So I think like so I mentioned before like 21 million or just over 21 million tokens are locked up and earning yield, and of that 21 million, you know, like two-thirds of that are locked for like 6 months or more. So yeah, we see a lot of people who, you know, have got skin in the game, people with a lot of tokens, or you know, they're locking up for like more than 6 months, and you know, they want to earn like a higher yield. So yeah, I'd say the majority, because the majority of tokens are locked for like, you know, half the max lock time or longer. Then yeah, I think it's quite encouraging as well.
Cool. Yeah. Glad to hear that. I think you guys are doing a great job with this V perp implementation. And
Jamie,
go
quick
ahead.
question. Sorry, Ariel, if I couldn't. Jamie, so when you lock, you can lock. So to get the perp, right? So when you're talking about locking perp, you have to go through the process to obtain the VE perp. Is that correct?
Oh, so how it works basically, so if you visit the website token.perp.com, you have some perp tokens on the Optimism network. You just you're interacting with a contract, the locker contract. So it's pretty much the same as for Curve if you've ever done it with Curve or you know about that. But yeah, so basically if you lock like say 100 perp and then you lock for the max of 52 weeks, then you'll receive 100 VE perp. But then for those 52 weeks, it's not liquid, so you have to wait for that lock time to expire. And then yeah, once that lock time is over, then you can claim your tokens back and then you know do whatever you want. You can lock it again for another 52 weeks, or you know you could do whatever you want after that. But yeah, you could always extend the lock time at pretty much any time. Um, but yeah, that's kind of like the kind of overview of it.
But it is it's a combination, no? Or maybe I'm mixing this up with another protocol. But you're locking perp and a percentage of ETH or USDC, or no? Is it just a lock on perp?
No, that's just it's just a lock on perp.
Okay, okay, good. Then I'm mixing it up. I'm sorry. Can you tell me the domain really quick one more time? I'll put it in the tweet here.
Okay, sure. Yeah, it's token.perp.com.
Token.perp.com. All right, cool. All right, here it is. Who did the design for your brand? Because you guys have really cool vector graphic art.
Yeah,
It stands out.
yeah, our design team is really talented. So yeah, we have like three designers that you know create these amazing illustrations and you know UI kind of experiences. They're not that active on Twitter, but I'll just shout out their names. So it's like Leo, Green, and Amy. They're part of our team, and they're like focused on the design.
Nice. I think, well, so I mean, this is obviously not tokenomics related, but I think having a good UI in Web3 is still something that's often overlooked. So I think making stuff pleasant to use and easy to use and hard to make mistakes is very important for the general usability. So I think it's good that you guys are investing time and effort into that, for sure.
Yeah, completely agree. UI is very important, and yeah, kind of underlooked in a lot of crypto projects.
Yeah. Yeah, there was this picture, like when the first Dexes started, there was this picture of a car with a circular saw blade as a steering wheel. And they were like, yeah, that's kind of what it's like trading on these. But this was like 2017, so this is a while ago. But
Right.
but yeah, anyway, so sorry. So getting back to the tokenomics side. So we've been just doing a whole like a small series on demand side incentives in general, and I find a lot of I mean, it's hard to say best practices, but it's you guys are trying actively to apply a lot of the features that are available. So I think that's really cool. What would you say in general is like is what else I guess is on the roadmap? So like you guys have your vaults, you have staking, you have trading. Is there any other piece of the puzzle that's going to be added soon, or is this it and you're just kind of trying to grow with what you have now?
So yeah, overall, I'd say like we're quite agile in terms of shipping new features, and the overhaul of the tokenomic model, it kind of like proves that as well. So we completely revamped the tokenomic model, and yeah, kind of like a testament to our team to like move fast and really like keep up with the times and implement like new features. Um, as for like VPerp, the future plans, I think one of the upcoming changes possibly would be um, giving the liquidity mining rewards in VPerp instead of perp at the moment, because yeah, at the moment, as part of our pool party initiative, liquidity providers, they can earn perp and OP tokens for providing liquidity. But then that kind of puts like downward pressure on the price if market makers, they're earning these tokens and selling them straight away as soon as they earn them. So if the liquidity mining rewards also paid in V perp instead of like the usual liquid perp, then that kind of like it kind of strengthens the tokenomic model a bit more and just like complements the existing work that's been done. And then I think the main focus for us right now is like the hot tub vaults. So currently we have two hot tub vaults and they're executing like a automated on-chain arbitrage strategy. And yeah, these vaults are for Ethereum and USDC. But the long-term vision is basically to expand like these vaults to like different assets and then even like different strategies as well. So basically, for our vision of becoming like a trustless crypto trading platform is like you could go there and you could put your money into like a not just an arbitrage vault, but maybe like a another sort of delta neutral vault or like a directional vault even. So just like making it that much easier to trade, and it's like all transparent as well, and it's like in kind of like the most decentralized way to like kind of yeah, it's like basically like a decentralized earn program, like you see on like Coinbase or Binance. That's basically what we're trying to achieve like in the long term, and basically provide like a lot of different trading strategies to people and just make it like really easy to do on chain. And then in terms of like the tokenomics, I suppose like it's not really like a main focus at the moment. So as I mentioned, like the vault product line is our main focus in the immediate term. But yeah, like we're always like kind of open to change in the future if like maybe a better model emerges and the community approves of changing or adjusting the tokenomic model. So yeah, I think like being adaptable and flexible is something that we strive to do at Perp. So and I think it's quite important to like thrive as well in the long run because the space just like moves so fast as well. So I think another point to mention is like we need to take time to learn from this new vote S crowd model because it's only been in place for like 6 months, and then we're gonna take these learnings, get insights from the data and so on, and then kind of assess the overall success, whether or not we can improve it, or what's worked well, what hasn't worked well. And then another thing, like more of a long-term point as well, is that some teams are actually interested in working on like a liquid staking solution, similar to like Convex or Lido, that's built on top of VPerp. But yeah, that requires like a lot more work and more research on how to implement it. So maybe at a much later stage we'll see something like this. And then also there's also the question of whether we could incorporate like VPerp into the hot tub vaults, and that's kind of like an interesting design space as well. But we don't have any plan for that yet. But there's like several different ways you could do that. So you could make a vault where like a higher share of the yield goes to those addresses with more VPerp, similar to like the fee distribution. Or you could like have another way where there's a percentage of the fees generated go to token holders, because at the moment the hot tub vaults they don't charge any like performance fee or anything like that at the moment, just for like a limited time, just to like encourage people to onboard new people. But yeah, in the future, if you could be charging a performance fee on a certain vault, and then maybe the VPerp holders can get a share of those fees as well as the trading fees. So yeah, the design space is pretty open, and yeah, we'd also encourage like any community members or people that are interested in like tokenomics to make proposals on our governance forum. So we're pretty open to any like interesting ideas that are like feasible to increase the utility of the token.
So basically, for the vault strategies, this same idea applies as with the DEX. So if subscription to the vaults increases, there is a does this already exist? So were you saying this is a possibility that you might implement that basically all holders of locked perp will benefit from bringing more money into the vaults?
Yeah, and I was just saying it's like a possibility over the like long term.
Possibility.
Yeah, and it's not like confirmed or like in the works,
Yeah.
but yeah, I was just going over like the kind of like design space and
Yeah.
what's possible.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, wherever you guys can align incentives, like you have with the DEX, I think that makes a lot of sense. It becomes essentially what do you call it, like a referral program, but less, uh, like a decentralized referral program, essentially.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
so, so like, pardon my ignorance, but is hot tub vault, is that already an established term in crypto that I've missed, or is this something that Perp created, like the name?
Oh, the hot tub name.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's just an idea that we come up with. Yeah, it's just like we're just trying to think of like a cool name for vaults. And it kind of links to our to the fee sharing program, which is called Lazy River. It's kind of
Right.
like water park inspired. Yeah. So yeah, it's just like a fun name to come up with, really. But yeah, they're like basically vaults, but yeah, they call it the hot tub.
That makes sense. But so it's like if once you're done riding the lazy river, you might want to warm up in the hot tub for a minute, and then you can jump back into the river type thing.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah, like the hot tub is like a hot tub is like a safer space as well. Like lazy
Ah,
river is like there's a bit more risk to it, but yeah, they're both like kind of lazy ways or like very low effort ways to earn yield, and that's kind of like the thinking behind it as well.
yeah. And so your hot tub vaults are delta neutral or attempting to be delta neutral. Is that right?
Yeah. So they're basically they're delta neutral, so you're not really taking on any like price risk or market risk. Um, but yeah, if people are interested, they can check out the website vaults.perp.com, and you can see like an outline of like the benefits and any of the risks as well.
Okay, cool. All right, Ariel, do you have another question for Jamie?
No, I think we touched on the most of the subject. Yeah, I don't think I have another question. Maybe someone in the audience wants to come up and ask a question.
Yeah, yes, please. If you want to, just request to speak, and we'll get you up here. And if not, Jamie, if there's anything that you want to ask or you want to share kind of closing words, feel free to do so.
Yeah, sure. I'll just say, yeah, thanks for hosting, and glad to be here to talk to you guys about tokenomics. Yeah, I'll just say like to follow our Twitter, Perpetual at Perp Protocol, on Twitter for latest like updates. If you're interested in like the hot tub vaults, just check out vaults.perp.com, and yeah, just check out the exchange, and we're really glad to hear your feedback or what you think or how we can improve. And yeah, let's build together.
Yeah, I think that's yeah, thank you, Jamie. Thank you also for coming on today and being guests on our space. But so just to echo this, what you've mentioned several times, that you guys actually did a complete overhaul of your tokenomics, is one of the things that I always try to also emphasize when I yeah, talk about tokenomics. So like, of course, it's important to launch. So you kind of have to get to a point in the beginning when you launch something new where your tokenomics is like good enough for now. But I do think that you have to think of it as something like your product that has to evolve over time. It's not something that's one and done, unless maybe you're an L1. But even there, we're seeing lots of updates over time, right? I mean, Ethereum had some major updates. Even Bitcoin, even though like the base layer of Bitcoin is not changing, but stuff is being added on. So I think in general, it's important to think of tokenomics as something evolving. And one of the things we're trying to build at the DAO is a way to help people stay on top of the changes, right? Because I mean, changes can be positive, but they could potentially be negative as well. And it's a little hard to track currently, especially if you invest in a lot of projects. So I'd also encourage everybody to check out the tokenomics hub that we're building. So tokenomicshub.xyz. There's a lot of resources available to learn more about tokenomics, and it's kind of an online suite to help you design tokens, design tokenomics for tokens. And then last but not least, we're also doing kind of intro to tokenomics education. So if you guys are interested in that, feel free to check out our link in the bio here of Tokenomics DAO, and you'll find our online course, which will get you from 0 to 1 in understanding tokenomics, and has the goal to enable you and give you all the tools that you need to do your own tokenomics analysis, at least at an entry level. Very cool. Thank you so much, guys. That'll be all for today. And yeah, feel free to follow, subscribe, get in touch with us and Perp. You can see in the tweets below the space the URLs that Jamie has shouted out.
Thanks for the invite, Lovis. It was a great time, and thanks, Jamie, for another great discussion.